We're going to be talking about productivity. Interesting area, really. I suppose this resonates with a lot of people. We end up doing all sorts of stuff, admin, particularly for an annual leave as well. But let's get productivity expert Clare Evans to give us an insight into some of the research around people spending a lot of time doing admin when they should be away relaxing, I would think. Clare, welcome to the show. Great to be on board. Can you tell us what the research tells us, please?
Thank you. Yes, the National Rail commissioned some research, and it found out that 40% of people rarely take a break when they're off work and are using that time, their annual leave time, to actually get life tasks, life admin done.
Yeah, and absolutely. I've got to admit, Claire, sometimes during annual leave, I think to myself, when I've got that many things to do, how I managed to go to work with so many things to do. But, what can we do better? What can people listening in do? Because you need a good break. There's nothing worse than coming back after annual leave and not having, some time to just recharge the batteries.
Exactly. And a quarter of people find that really annoying. So why not use those little pockets of time in the day to actually do some of that life admin, get some of those tasks ticked off your list. And that's where your journey time can come in. So travelling on the train can give you that opportunity to get a few of those things ticked off your list, whether that's going through your emails, doing a bit of meal planning, sorting out your shopping to-do list, booking appointments. Use that time in a more productive way in which a quarter of people already do use their train time productively.
Yeah, and absolutely. I have to admit that's something that I do, even if I'm sort of flying somewhere and that sort of stuff. I try and take some time to sort of get organised and that sort of stuff. I suppose during the course of a week, is it sort of worth planning your week, Claire? Do you think sort of like sitting down and thinking, okay, mapping out a plan?
Absolutely. Planning is key to the whole thing, whether it's work or even in your personal life, planning that time. And again, that train time can be a really useful time to do that. So you can plan what it is that you're going to get done that day when you get into work, so you're ready and you're going. You can also use that at the end of the day to review what you had planned. Did you get everything done? What's still on your list, and plan ahead for the following day. So it can really help you to reduce that stress of being in reactive mode or feeling overwhelmed by too much to do, because you've actually thought ahead and planned ahead.
Absolutely. Speaking of the train, I must admit there's been times when I've had to sort of go into London for one reason or the other. Obviously, I'm up in the north of England, near Manchester, but the point being where sometimes if I can, I'll take the train for that very reason, to be able to sort of sit down and get a few things done, which obviously you can't do if you're driving. Is this sort of a case for that, sort of maybe saying, if I can sort of, catch the train instead, then I can sort of sit down and maybe grab a coffee or a tea or whatever and just sort of get a few things done rather than sort of drive?
Oh, absolutely. I did that recently. I had quite a long journey up to the Lake District, and I chose to get the train for that very reason, because it meant that I had the whole of that time that I could be using it much more productively than driving there. And you're in that sort of uninterrupted time where you can focus on what you need to do. You haven't got the distractions of either the office around you, and just making that plan for what you're going to do on that journey time. And it can be just as important to have some relaxation then as well, and watch the countryside go by, especially on a long journey, to be able to switch off and relax rather than constantly feeling you need to be on all the time. So train journeys are absolutely brilliant for being able to use that time far more productively.
Yeah, and absolutely, and occasionally look out the window too, and nice countryside as well, and have a look. But I suppose the other thing too, it's sort of going off track a little bit, but I suppose that the other thing as well, I'm sure a lot of people listening in have found themselves doing this as well. I certainly have at times. Just getting on social media as well can be a bit of a problem, really. If you're not conscious about the time you're spending on there, you got YouTube, TikTok, all these different things, Facebook, all that sort of stuff. Really, it's easy, Claire, to get on there, and time just sort of, you find yourself certainly I'm sure a lot of people resonate with them. You just find yourself spending like long times on there and not getting things done.
Exactly, and that's where time limits can be really helpful, is limiting the amount of time you spend on that, or using something like your journey time to actually catch up on some of the things that you might be watching on YouTube or streaming as part of the relaxation. So time limits are useful generally so that you don't disappear down to that never ending. Using journey time to catch up on social media in a positive way, catching up with friends and family, keeping in touch with people, it can be useful for that. But also, while you're watching the countryside go by, you're also allowing your brain to switch into a different mode, to relax, to be able to think more creatively by doing that, because you avoid some of those other distractions and just get much more focused in.
Absolutely. I mean, and I suppose if someone is sort of on annual leave and they're going away, they decide they're going to go away, be it for a drive away, a few hours away, maybe, they might travel somewhere else. What's your take, sort of, Claire, on sort of, maybe bringing, I know it's not always easy because sometimes people got maybe an urgent call or email to take or anything else, but what's your take on maybe leaving sort of stuff behind, like maybe a laptop behind, not bringing it with, or whatever people use these days, tablets and other stuff?
If you think about the reasons that people need to take their office, in inverted commas, with them, is because they need to catch up on work-related stuff generally, or emails or something else. Whereas if you're using your daily journey time to do that, you have less reason. And I think if you can leave your laptop at home, especially when you're going on holiday, then that's a really good indicator that you're using the rest of your time more productively to enable you to do that. So you can then enjoy that guilt-free time, feel less stressed, and actually spend quality time with family and friends, because you've caught up on the life admin. You haven't got all these things ticking away in the background that you feel you ought to be doing, and you can relax.
You know what I learned to do a while back, Claire, is put one of those notifications, maybe a few years ago, where, when you're sort of out, I'm going to be back on this sort of date type thing, and what's your sort of take on those sort of things? So, well, I'm not going to be able to get back to you until this date, letting people be aware of that on like an email notification type thing.
Oh, absolutely, and planning ahead of time. So you're letting people know that you're going to be away 1 to however many weeks is appropriate beforehand. And also on those out of office messages, who they can contact in your absence, and making it very clear that having those clear boundaries there of you will not be available, you will not be responding to messages and phone calls in that time because you are on holiday. And that's really important to do.
That's the big word, I think, the boundaries, really. I think sometimes people might not feel comfortable with boundaries, and I've noticed over the years it's probably down to sort of like the speed of communication now. People kind of want a reply yesterday type thing, and it's not always possible really to do. Do you think that sort of anecdotally, I'm sort of speaking here, that maybe with all that sort of technology now, which is meant to make our life easier to a certain degree, there's that sort of temptation to reply or sort of bring our phone, and people expect a reply now, like pretty much straight away. If they don't get it, there's kind of reply anxiety type thing.
Exactly, and that's where boundaries and setting expectations again is really important, of having those clear boundaries and that distinction between work and your personal life. And you can maybe use, in context of the research that was done, that journey time to do those catch-ups, to make sure that you've caught up on the emails and responded, but not instantly responding, because again you do set that expectation that that's what's going to happen next time. But if you do it in a timely manner, then you're not always having to catch up because it's become urgent or somebody's now chasing you. You can use that time to plan and organise and catch up on those little backlogs.
I suppose there's that sort of, sometimes like an opportunity might come up as well, whatever it may be type thing. Maybe someone gets back about some sort of opportunity, and that sort of fear of missing out as well. If I don't get back to this person ASAP, that opportunity might be lost really, as well. And I mean, in that regards, it's not always easy. Do you think, in terms of, say, sometimes people like, it's not just about the expectations, but also like, well, an opportunity for an interview might come up, or an opportunity for like a business opportunity might come up, and that sort of temptation to sort of just reply straight away. Do you think that's something that people can work on as well, or?
Yeah, very much so, and it's about an appropriate response to those priorities, and thinking, is it more important for me to drop everything that I'm working on and respond to this, or carry on with what I'm doing? What is the more important thing? If it is an opportunity, do I need to respond now because it will be missed, or actually I can feel more in control of my time and respond to it in an hour, 2 hours later today, even tomorrow? So it's about thinking before you act. And if you're more organised, then you have more time to be flexible. And that's really where taking these little pockets of time in your day to do that type of work can really help.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's even throughout the day too. I think that it's sort of one thing about, say, a block of annual leave and saying, well, okay, I'm not going to be contactable for this sort of week or so. But it's also throughout the day, I find as well, Claire, where sometimes I'm like, you know what, this hour is for me. I'm going to go for a walk, or gym, or a run, whatever. Just I'm going to block it out. And by doing that, I think sometimes you feel a lot fresher and better for it. Maybe you do half an hour mindfulness or go for a walk. You just come back sort of with that extra energy. Do you feel that these sort of breaks are really important for our energy, sort of mentally, if nothing else?
Definitely. I'm a big advocate of breaks and time blocking, and actually taking more breaks in our day rather than less. And that feeling that, well, I'm too busy to take a break, or there's too much to do, is plan your time and organise it so that you feel that you have the time to do the things that you need to do, so you're not constantly feeling stressed out and, I don't have time to exercise, I don't have time to do this, that and the other. And those little snippets of journey time can be really useful for planning that day, planning what you need to get done, when you're going to do your exercise, when you're going to take your breaks. So use that ideal journey train time to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I learned from somebody a few years ago where sometimes if something comes in at a certain time, let's say on a Friday late afternoon, something comes in type thing, and you kind of think, you know what, let's just sort of put the bat and ball away and deal with this on Monday fresh, rather than sort of, in terms of there, do you think there is a case for sometimes, it could be, it was actually sort of, when I was on the holiday one time, I was speaking to a chef, and he was telling me how he manages a restaurant, and late in the evening, if an issue comes up, sometimes he'll say, you know what, to the staff, let's just leave it and pick it up in the morning, rather than when you're sort of jaded and tired type thing. And it resonated even sort of in any field. Does that sort of resonate to saying, well, if you have got journey time, you might say, well, you know what, I'm going to deal with this tomorrow, I'll deal with this next week, it's not the time and place to sort of deal with this issue.
Yes, and using, again, it's about appropriateness of the response. Does it need a response right now, or is it something that I can leave and plan it in to do it the following day, or, as you say, on a Friday afternoon? And also being able to push back on that. Again, there's an expectation of where that's come in from. Are they expecting you to fix it there and then, or actually is it perfectly fine to leave it until the Monday morning? So it's all about planning, thinking ahead and prioritising, and creating enough flexibility within your daily schedule that you have the time to be able to deal with these things and manage them without feeling completely stressed out and overwhelmed the whole time.
Absolutely. No, that's been great speaking to you, Claire. Some really good practical ideas. And if anyone wants to know more about sort of the research or your work, they can signpost them anywhere, any websites or anywhere they can go and find out more.
Yep, absolutely. There's some tips on using your journey time better. There's lots of different tips on the National Rail website, nationalrail.co.uk/time well spent, and there's a little quiz there as well, which will help people identify what time or type of travel persona they have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I'll have a go at the quiz myself, really. I think I'm one of them types of people where my persona is I'll get things done and look out the window occasionally, get the coffee out as well. So, but it's interesting to see what comes up there. Thanks again.
It's really important to have that balance between having a little bit of productive time, but also having time to relax.
Absolutely, and sometimes walk up and down as well. Get a bit of a walk as well in the train as well.
Especially on the long journey.
Yeah, you do a few exercises, back stretching exercises too, and other stuff. But yeah, brilliant speaking to you, Claire. Have a great day and a great weekend. Thank you.
And thanks, Jimmy.